What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time here on a Saturday, very early afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. I am Britt Devine, joined by Mr. Agents of Fandom himself. We got TJ here, our normal friend, STL Cards. He has the day off today. So, TJ, it's just you and me. I'm okay with that. I miss cards, but we can get this done, dude.
Yeah, we always miss our friend, but it's not like this slate is going to be requiring too much from us today, and so we can handle it with the two-man. I'm just putting the last finishing touches on my expert survey here, and then we got our full attention to help the people make some money and take down this early slate.
Yeah, we've got there's this Houston team with Jose Altuve back, Framber Valdez against Hulk Hogan. Not really, but we're making some looking at the stats of some of this guy. In the majors, it's really horrible. In the minors, it's also pretty bad. We'll have to see how we're going to play Houston today, but it's going to be a fun game. TJ, with just two of us, we've got what, 30 minutes to go. The first game's at 105. What are we looking at for likes for some Spidey bombs? You know I'm going to tell you on those. We've got 27 already. What's the first one at? You want to go for 50?
I want to go for 50. 50 likes. We already got over 100 people watching, so 50 likes, and we got that first Spidey bomb coming.
All right, sounds good. Click the like button, people. I'm going to start off with pitcher. And TJ, I guess with it just you and me, feel free to interject at any time, man, and we can get some discussion going. But we've got basically two studs at the top today. We've got Framber Valdez, and we've got Luis Castillo. I've got the bat pulled up here. And the bat, Derek Carty, love his projection system. He's got Castillo 2.5 fantasy points over Framber Valdez today. Framber Valdez just went a complete game with 7 strikeouts against Oakland in his last start. Normally, I don't like pitchers going back-to-back against the same team. But TJ, it's Oakland. So I'm on Framber over Castillo today in terms of raw fantasy points, in terms of everything today. And I know Carty's got some reasoning behind that. Oakland, their ballpark's favorable to not getting strikeouts. I'm sure Oakland doesn't really strike out too much. I think some of that plays in there. But Framber, anytime you can get that complete game possibility, this is another one to rack up against Oakland, who's just a putrid team. You know he's probably going to get the win because the bullpen starting pitching combination for Oakland today is about as horrific as I think I've ever witnessed in Major League Baseball, specifically the Oakland bullpen. Anytime you can get to them, and you always do, it's pretty good for all the batters here. Castillo in his own right, some big strikeout ability at home against Pittsburgh. What do you choose between these two? And I guess this is mainly going to be a DraftKings slate because DraftKings has the 1 o'clock slate. We're going to have another show at 3:30 for the 4 o'clock slate. Me and TJ will be back.
3:15.
4:15. We're going to be on.
We're going to be on a little early because I got a small little baby foster puppy that I got to take care of and get to an adoption event. So
listen, if we got to move a show for a dog, I'm all for that, my man. So we'll do that. So
yeah, it's not for me. It's for the animals.
Yeah. So 3:15, we'll be back for basically the FanDuel slate, and we'll talk some of the DraftKings late slate on that show. But for me, it makes sense to basically talk DraftKings. Castillo, $1,500 price advantage over Valdez today in terms of being lower. How are you handling this too from the cash game perspective? I know you can maybe mix in some Corbin Burns, and there's some other guys you can mix in there, but it's hard to not. I'm playing both of the top 2 pitchers today without question.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get both of them as well. There for sure are some others that I'm willing to take some shots on from a tournament standpoint. But I think in cash, I'm looking to get to those 2 guys and just hoping I can find some cheap bats to fill up the rest of my lineup.
Yeah, I got breaking news, TJ. We have hit 50 likes. Let's queue up Spidey Bomb number 1. What are we looking at today?
Give me another couple minutes, and then I got the first Spidey Bomb.
Oh, TJ holding out on us.
I gotta pull the page up. I was trying to get the expert survey submitted. So give me your take on tournament pitchers. I'll give the Spidey Bomb, and then I'll give my take on tournament pitchers.
So in terms of upside, you got to take a long look at Pablo Lopez, in my opinion. He has some big strikeout ability. He's a righty going up against Toronto. I always like Toronto when there's a righty on there. I think he has some possibility. Burns, for the price tag, I think is a reasonable expectation. If you get good Corbin Burns, for the price at 8,300. And today's weird too from the bats. Like if you play Valdez and Castillo and you want to play Aaron Judge, who's definitely going to hit a home run off Waka today, right? If you want those and a guaranteed home run, you got to really stretch your, you got a couple 2K players, a couple low 3K players all into your lineup to get that to work. So I understand why people would be reaching for some other starting pitching. So I think Burns is in there. The possibility of having a good outcome is certainly there. I know the bat is on him, mainly more from the long-term perspective. This season's been a little bit more up and down. I don't know. Severino stretched out a little bit more at 7K maybe makes a little sense to me. If you're trying to get some a little bit of upside. San Diego, I don't know. San Diego has a bunch of good players, but I don't think they're a very good team. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's just my feeling on San Diego sometimes. So I think Severino at 7K makes a little bit of sense. Those are probably the guys I'm at. Webb's probably a little bit too high priced. I could certainly see playing him. What was it, like a back tightness scare? Got his start pushed back, always a little worrisome. But I think he's up there. But I don't know. I'm playing Framber for 600 more over Webb. Maybe not 100 out of 100, but 95 out of 100 teams, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I'm just all in on Framber today. That's sort of where I'm standing, TJ. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Framber Valdez is going to be my main guy of the two. Like if I'm going to sacrifice one of Valdez or Castillo, then Castillo's probably going to be the one that I'm going to sacrifice. And Valdez is probably going to be my favorite guy to roll with on the slate in terms of my main SP1. A guy I really like in tournaments today, though, as an SP2 is Chris Bassett going up against that Minnesota team. Minnesota strikes out a lot, and even though Bassett's not the highest strikeout guy, he's been pitching very, very well since his struggles to start the season. It's been early April since the last time he went less than 5 innings. Put up some really big ceiling games, going all 9 innings a couple times, but he's usually been good for at least 6. And so I think he's got a nice high floor and a higher ceiling than most think. And not many people are going to be going to him today. So Chris Bassett is one of my favorite guys for tournaments.
I can get behind Bassett. I want to ask you on Lorenzen. So a little bit of a up and down season. What are we, he's just because of the price tag, 6,800, it lets you do some things to your lineup, get, some actual batters in there. What's your take on him today against the White Sox?
I don't really feel like I need to go there. I mean, if I were running 150 lineups like I usually would be, he would definitely be in the pool. I'm only playing one single entry lineup today. And so I'm basically deciding, do I want to go Castillo and Valdez, or do I want to go Bassett as my SP2? But if I was running 150 like I typically would, then he's definitely would be in the pool. Sorry.
All right. Let's get back to the Spidey Bomb. The people want it. I want it. I like the plus 500, 600s when they're almost guaranteed to hit, TJ. So what are we looking at?
So the reason I was struggling is because most of my Spidey Bombs that I'm really looking to go with today, most of them are in the evening games.
All right.
However, having said that, there is one player in particular that really stands out to me from this early set of games. It's not as crazy odds as we'd hope, but it's very good odds for this player. And the second Spidey Bomb at 100 likes will get sneakier. And so the first Spidey Bomb of the day is going up against Andrew Heaney, Ryan Mountcastle at plus 410 over on Caesars.
All right. So let's get that in. I'm definitely going to follow you in on that. Heaney, anytime you can take a home run prop against Heaney, he can give up like 5 of them. He can give up none of them. So hopefully it's the 5 game against Heaney. So I'm going to get in on that with Mountcastle, like the angle on there. Is there anything else at pitching? I'm looking. A couple people in chat mentioning Severino. I'm on Severino, especially looking at the Padres lineup. It's not really that great today. Do you think if I set you at 80, what do we have for Severino? 90 pitches? Maybe that's a smidge high. If I give you like 80, 6 pitches from Severino today against a watered-down Padres lineup. Can you get behind him?
I can. It's just more so there's other options I like better. Like there's so many great pitchers on this slate. Like I don't feel the absolute need to go there, but I don't hate it either. Like I'm fine with it.
Yeah, if you were a premium member and you want to read Cheese's article, he's got, I think it was Castillo and Framber at the top, which I completely agree with. And then tier 2, which on most slates is like, 2 or 3 pitches. I think it's 8 or 9 or 10 deep, something like that today. So there's a lot to go with. I'm avoiding like the Clayton Kershaws, the probably not really on Wheeler too much today. There's a lot of like big name pitchers I'm not really on. Castillo, Framber, mix in some of the other guys we talked about is basically how I'm handling it. All right, offense in general today from a tournament perspective, TJ, what are some teams you're looking to stack up?
Yeah, so I do like the aforementioned Spidey Bum team, Baltimore, as a kind of a sneaky stack today, but undoubtedly the top stack on the board for me is going to be Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mix in some Washington, KC, Baltimore, some teams I really like, but and the Yankees in there as well. But Houston is without a doubt the team that is going to lead the charge for me. I kind of am toying with the idea of stacking the back half of this Houston lineup up with the with the 2 expensive pitchers today. Just the idea of sacrificing somebody like a Yordan Alvarez in your Houston stack is pretty terrifying, though.
Yeah, I really hope the Astros, 1, get the lineup out before lineup lock, which is probably pretty questionable, but 2, they roll out the A+ lineup today. I want to play as many Astros as possible. I want to play Tucker, Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman.
I hope they don't roll out the A+ lineup because I want to be able to play them with the expensive pitchers.
Yeah, just make sure you're on late swap watching some of these games. The lineups that aren't out, these can make or break some of your tournament teams today if you're able to swap them, because lineup lock is one. If you're able to pay attention, make sure you're doing that. All right, let's go to basically position by position. Then we'll try to take some questions. Catcher, again, I'm pretty much going to stick to DraftKings for this first slate. I know it's a FanDuel show. If you are in a state that offers legal sports betting, you can sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. You get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Read the terms and conditions on that. But thank you to our sponsor, FanDuel. We will have a FanDuel-based show at 3:15 covering their main slate. But for right now, it's pretty much just DraftKings to me. Catcher is basically, you have Sal Perez at 5K, which, like, if you play the 2 top pitchers and you want to play Aaron Judge, it is pretty tough. Your lineup looks pretty rough with Perez. You can make it work. You can go down to a guy like Keibert Ruiz, Haas, to try to save some money. That's where I'm looking at, because I prefer to spend up not on Salvador Perez. I'm on the Nationals as a bet today. So I have them on the money line. The other bet I have today, I believe, is, I didn't write anything up at Scores and Odds. I have a same game parlay of Astros -1.5 with Framber to get 6Ks. And that was basically even money. I didn't understand that. But yeah, that was a nice one. So same game parlay, -1.5 Astros, Valdez 6Ks if you're looking for a couple of bets. But I'm on the cheap catchers, Haas, Ruiz. Those are probably the 2 I'm choosing from today.
Yeah, obviously, if I can spend up to Salvador Perez or even somebody like Will Smith, I'm okay with it. The thing for me is, like, I basically just want to play whatever cheap catcher that Houston rolls out today, whether it be Martin Maldonado or maybe it's even Yainer Diaz or something. They're going super low owned. I love the stack. I need to find somewhere to go full punt and save some salary. And so whichever catcher gets rolled out for Houston today, I think that's going to be my favorite one on the board.
Yeah, I could certainly get behind that. It's just I'm trying to, I guess I need the cheap catcher. So a guy like, if you're playing Haas, to play him at the 1 o'clock, you can always go with Ruiz to try to give yourself that ability. That's just sort of where I am, at least from the catcher position. First base, you've got Vinny P against Gray. That looks to be a good spot at 4K. I think the bat has him as the highest projected first baseman in terms of raw fantasy points today, which I found a little surprising, granted some of the other first basemen that are out there today. So he's a nice fit on DraftKings. I really like Nate Lowe at 4,600 if you can get to him against Kramer. He's really struggled against lefties. Low looks like a really good spot to get a couple of hits, if not have a nice power game too. So I think Nate Lowe is pretty interesting. If you need a cheap guy, Torkelson at 2,700s, probably the way to go. It's just with Vlad against Lopez. Freddie Freeman's in a good spot too against Glass now, but then you get into the Rays bullpen. I don't know if I really want to play that game all day long with Freddie Freeman at 5,500. And the fact I'm so in on Aaron Judge today that it's really limiting my ability to spend elsewhere. So the Vinny P, Nate Lowe, and then if you really need someone cheap, probably Torkelson at 2,700.
Yeah, Vinny P is definitely the top guy here. I really like Vlad for tournaments today, going up against Lopez. Anytime you can get somebody of his caliber at very low ownership, I think it's a solid play. Anthony Rizzo's strong, Joey Gallo. Even though I like Bassett, anytime Gallo is batting leadoff, I think it's very interesting. You could go super cheap to somebody like Abreu, but that has just been very disappointing lately. My favorite, undoubtedly, is the Spidey Bomb, Ryan Mountcastle.
All right, just for the A's, in case anyone was wondering, Austin Pruitt's going to open, followed by Hulk Hogan Harris will be the probable log reliever after that. So load up on your Astros whenever we get the Astros lineup. So that's looking pretty juicy today.
The guy with the 66 xFIP.
Let's go to second base. I don't know. I would pay for Altuve. It's very hard if you're playing Framber and Castillo. You've got Massey's 2,100, and it's just like you have to make some concessions on DraftKings if you're spending up on Judge and even one other position today. And to get 2,100 Massey at a position, right? So of course I'd want to play Altuve at 5,300, but he's reasonably expensive. Torres against Waka 4,900, I think is a fine play if maybe you're not going to two premium pitchers. But I needed a couple punts. You decided at the catcher position to possibly do that with a cheap play. I'm looking to do it with a guy like Massey hitting 6, against Gray. That's good enough for me. They scored 22 runs in Kansas City last night. Let's see if they can do that again.
Jose Altuve would definitely be my top option here if I can get up to him. For what it's worth, my top option at basically every position is going to be an Astro.
Yeah.
Second base might be a hard position for us to pay up for, but Altuve does have a hit in 4 straight games. So that does make you feel a little bit better about a guy that's fresh off of a long-term injury that he's able to come back in and do pretty well straight off the bat. If you need a punt, I think the answer is Odor leading off against Severino today, 2,700. Mm-hmm. You got Julien batting second. You got Odor batting first. Yeah, maybe those guys have some pinch hit risks at some point in the game, but nice and cheap and good lineup positions, I think, would be where I'd be looking to go if I'm needing to punt.
All right, going to third base again, if you have the money, and Alex Bregman looks pretty good. I'm sure you might, from a tournament perspective, like Matt Chapman against Lopez. If you like Vlad, we'll talk about that in just a second. But I don't know. I like some of these Washington bats today, and Heimer Candelario is certainly one of the ones I'm looking at. He's just 3,400. I don't know. He's basically one of the only. You don't think of him as like a really good bat, but he's good enough, and he's one of the few underpriced good enough bats today on DraftKings to make everything fit. And it's against Singer and this Royals bullpen. I'm not really too concerned. He's going to have a good lineup spot. 3,400 is looking pretty good. Of course, I'd like to play Bregman. Of course, I'd take a look at some of these other guys, but I got to save some salary. I'm double playing the Castillo and Framber at pitching. I'm all in on Aaron Judge. I'm just really limited on what I'm doing today, and Heimer allows me to do that.
Yeah, I like that call as well. I don't like a Toronto full stack today, but I do like a mini stack, and Matt Chapman's price is pretty nice. If you wanted to do something like a Vlad Chapman Bichette with a cheap stack today, I think that's a pretty interesting call. DJ LeMahieu's batting 4th. I think that's fine. Nick Maton's batting 5th. Paredes batting 5th. These things are all fine, but none of them are in that strong of matchups. Like your first choice, if you can get up to him, is Bregman. Your pivot off of him is Matt Chapman. And then if you need to go cheap, it's just like you said, it's Heimer Candelario.
All right. We're at 82 likes, 18 more for Spidey Bomb number 2. The first one was Ryan Mountcastle. So we're looking for a couple more likes to get Spidey Bomb number 2. Going to shortstop. And it's just I don't know. It's not a great position for me to pick players that I love. Corey Seager. I would play Seager over Witt if I was picking one. I know the bat will disagree with me, but Seager would clearly be my top shortstop if I was paying up today. But I don't have 5,600 on DraftKings to pay for a guy like Corey Seager, at least from the cash game perspective that I generally focus on. It's another punt position for me. I'm going way down. CJ Abrams, 2,400. He's hitting towards the bottom of the line. He's having a reasonably good bat so far this year. And any bat against Royals, right? I'll take that today. It's not the A's, but it's the next best thing. So he's hitting ninth, but it's mainly the salary. I need to punt a position or two. That's just how my DraftKings team from cash is sort of forming up. So I'm on Abrams. If you are spending, it is absolutely Seager over Witt for me at the top.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. Texas is another team that I didn't mention that obviously is high upside. We had a pretty funny mush moment on Crunch Time yesterday with Cardi beginning the show talking about how Grayson Rodriguez is the play and Texas is overrated, and then they absolutely went ham yesterday as well.
The prop, Grayson, he hit the strikeout prop. So I had Rodriguez the strikeout prop, but I was on the Texas money line, and so that was a double good one for me.
Nice. That is a really double good one. Yeah, it's the same guys that you said for me. Seager, it would be my top option as well, but I do think Bo Bichette is very interesting in tournaments. And then if you need to spend all the way down, somebody like Abrams, I guess, is probably the guy here, but I don't hate I was going to say I don't hate maybe JP Crawford instead, but the price difference between them is so huge. So yeah, I'm with you. Abrams would probably be the guy I'm going with here.
If you guys are scratching and clawing for every dollar, Zach Short, 2K Detroit against the White Sox today, go for it, right? If you're scratching and clawing, try to get every dollar into your lineup today. If I'm playing CJ Abrams at 2,400, you can tack another 400 off of that and play him to be able to afford something else today if that makes your lineup.
He wasn't yesterday, but as long as he's in the lineup today, I think Jeremy Pena makes the best tournament option, coming in at half the ownership of the Witts and the Seagers.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to go to the outfield. If you guys have any questions, get them into the Discord, get them into YouTube. Spidey Bomb, we need 12 more likes on YouTube, please, to get that. I know I want to bet it. Hopefully you guys do too, and they're always good DFS plays. I've mentioned about 10 times I'm all in on Aaron Judge today at all costs against Michael Wacha. He's going yard. You can't have him as a Spidey Bomb. It's probably a little bit too chalky, but that's where I'm going today. Outside of that, Jordan Alvarez, if you can get to him as maybe a second out, if you can go double premium, I think he's in a great spot. I just worry. I was on his total base prop for scores and odds yesterday, and he walks so damn much because they never want to pitch to him, and he's patient. He only hits the good pitches, which is good for baseball, but it's not good for the total base props. But he should have a very nice performance. If you can't get to him, Kyle Tucker is a nice consolation prize. After that, it's like, who do you want to play in the outfield? Because you've got Melendez and Prado for the Royals, who are cheap, who look to be probably the best cheapish plays. But I don't know, TJ, I want to ask you, I was trying to look around, and it's like, there's not a lot to love in the outfield. Basically across the board, because we have like reasonably good pitching. The prices are tight on DraftKings in the outfield today. So I basically like min-maxed Judge, Tucker, Alvarez with one of like the cheap Kansas City bats. And I'm calling it a day because everyone else is either priced correctly or too high, or the pitcher they're going up against is probably just a little bit too good.
Yeah, I'm with you. For what it's worth, if I'm choosing one, I'd prioritize Alvarez over Judge today. I do still think they're both wonderful, wonderful plays. It's just Alvarez getting probably one quick at bat off that righty opener and then getting the Oakland bullpen the entire game. That's just too good to pass up. The best mid-tier cheap, probably if you're getting somebody for a cash game play, you see him with all those tags there. It's MJ Melendez. I do really like, I was going to say Anthony Santander, and take a look, and guess what? He is not in the lineup today for Baltimore. So Austin Hayes is somebody that I don't mind in his spot instead. And then that's kind of like, this is us talking about how, like, so you can play Joey Gallo leading off here too, but us not really liking this position too much. I think the Philly lefties interesting, but us not liking this position too much is the reason why I'm so interested in doing that back half of a stack of the Houston lineup when we get it. Like, if we get Myers, McCormick, guys like Julks, just go in these cheap guys that are going to be low owned because we don't have the lineup yet, who are probably going to be getting their first 2 at bats against the left-handed pitcher. I'm all for that. Like, that's kind of my favorite thing to do on this slate.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't have an Astros lineup yet, so it looks like we're probably going to be stuck without it before lineup lock on DraftKings. All right, I'm going to go to Discord. Let me see if we have any questions in there real quick and get them in the Crunch Time channel. Let's see. Another Spidey Bomb. What are we at? We're at 94, so 6 more to get another Spidey Bomb. Brit Bets. I don't know if we're calling it that. That seems a little cheesy. The Spidey Bomb's better, but the ones I'm on the Nationals money line, and I have a same game parlay of Astros -1.5 with Framber 6 Ks. Those are pretty much the only 2 personal bets I have made myself this morning. Don't really see.
I'm gonna trust that. All right, there we go. We just got it anyways, because we got to get this one in quick because it is in the very first game of the slate.
All right.
You wanted something over plus 500. I got it for you. Rougned Odor. He's leading off. He's hitting the ball well. He's plus 540 to hit a home run on Fanduel, and Odor is Spidey Bomb number 2.
All right, we're putting that in here. So we got Mountcastle and Rougned Odor. I'm tailing TJ in on both of those. Let's go. If one hits, we're well into the green for the day today. And then TJ also said he's going to have plenty of Spidey Bombs. We're back at 3:15. We're going to talk the FanDuel main slate for that. So make sure to tune in there. We'll have some more Spidey Bombs and I guess more hashtag Brits Bets, but that'll also include the Washington game. Let's see. Steve-O Schultens. Any interest in him today from a pitching perspective?
I will say get this one in as well because I'm giving you a bonus Spidey Bomb. So let's keep hitting that like button. I'd love if you get it up to 125, but this is a little less sneaky from a DFS standpoint. But this is probably my favorite bet to hit a home run on the early slate. And you can find Corey Seager at plus 500 on FanDuel.
Wait, is Corey Seager is plus 500? That makes no sense.
Yeah, Corey Seager is plus 500 on FanDuel.
All right, we're gonna.
That's my favorite home run bet of the early slate.
Yeah, if I would have known, I don't know, I've had a busy morning, haven't checked everything, but if I would have known, he's down to 470. They changed it on you, TJ. We still taking the 470?
We are.
Yeah, I think we can do that too. It's circling. They won't let me bet it, TJ. Well, they're changing it on us as we speak. But in Discord, Steve-O wanted to know Schultens. Any interest in him against Detroit? A good matchup in theory.
And who, sorry?
Jesse Schultens, the starting pitcher for the White Sox.
Oh, no, I don't have any interest in Jesse Schultens today. There's just too much good pitching.
Yeah, this isn't the slate to mess around with the, 4th tier pitchers when there's 2 elite arms and then probably at least 6 reasonably good secondary arms, if not down to 8 or 9 or 10. Like 2 of that group is certainly going to have your DFS winning performances for the day, in my opinion. All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's see here. Single entry stack DraftKings tournament. You got to mix it up. Where do you think that's going to end up today?
Single entry stack DraftKings tournament. I like Baltimore and Texas as some interesting stacks for to be sneaky.
Let's see. Take Baltimore. Ron likes the Baltimore outfield over Judge and Alvarez. I don't know. That's pretty tough to fade those top 2 guys. We didn't talk about Bryce Harper, him against Morton. What's your thoughts on him? You mentioned some of the Philadelphia outfielders. Your thoughts on Harper exclusively? He's got to have a decent sized sample of BVP against Morton here.
Don't really care about the BVP. I like Schwarber better just because he's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fine with Harper too.
Harper's 10 for 25 with 1 home run. Schwarber's 4 for 16 with 2 home runs. Again, I don't really care about it, but the Harper stat line, you wish there was a little more power. If there's enough at bats, it looks like he hits Morton pretty well. Not to mention, he's a pretty good hitter, and Morton can be a little bit up and down, a little bit better recently. But yeah, I could certainly get behind a Bryce Harper bomb today, no question. Let's see, any more questions? Just cruising around. We got about 3 minutes. Oh yeah, I want to know too. One of my he was my last man out of my DraftKings team, but Lane Thomas leading off against Singer 4,200. If you were looking for like a mid-tier bat, he is certainly someone I have absolutely no problem playing. I think I had him. I was on Washington yesterday. I didn't put it up in scores and odds, but I had the home run at plus 800. That was pretty nice. And I would certainly go back to him at the price tag. Just having a reasonably good season. And any pitcher again, or any reasonably good bat against Singer, I'm willing to take a shot on today.
This was the most I've scrambled during a show in a while. Like this was I just had some life things pop up, and so I was late on the expert survey. Then I had to. My lineup wasn't in when we started the show, and after like a distracted 5 minutes, feel like that went pretty well, and I'm happy about where my lineup's going to stand. I don't know Houston's team yet, but I'm going double paying up at pitcher. I'm going to have a Houston stack of some kind with Mountcastle and Odor in there. I like how this is shaping up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Still no Astros lineup. I wish it was out, but it's not. So we're gonna have to late swap to those again. Pay attention on DraftKings. Any team that doesn't have a lineup out, the Mariners just came out. Looks about right. It's the weekend in baseball. Normally they mess them around on Sunday when they play the early game, but just pay attention. Late swap. Make sure the guys you are playing are in the lineup, specifically the Houston bats if you're looking at them. But for everybody else, make sure you're paying attention to late swap. Again, we're going to be back at 3:15. We're going to cover the Fanduel main slate, which starts at 4:05 today. And we'll also talk some of the DraftKings night slate. The Fanduel night slate is very weak. The DraftKings one's pretty strong. And then Fanduel made their main slate, the 4:05 slate. But we're going to do that at 3:15 today. So Mr. Agents of Fandom can get a dog adopted today. So
that's the goal. Hoping to find this guy running around our house a forever home.
No, I've never fostered. I've had dogs. I've never fostered a dog. What's it like? How many dogs have you fostered? What's it like? Because you love the dog when they're there. What's it like giving the dog away to somebody else? Because to me that would feel pretty bad.
So I love fostering for a couple of reasons. So we've had probably about 10 different ones over the last few years. Sometimes we'll take them in pairs. Right now we got just the one. This guy came from a litter of 9 dogs. And so typically there's just places like, so Saskatchewan, where I live, it's bigger than California. It's bigger than England, but there's like 1 million people who live here. And so up north, there's a lot less people, but there's a lot of just like stray dogs that need rescuing. And so organization, Saskatoon Dog Rescue, where I live, every like 3 or 4 times a year, they'll pull a bunch of dogs from up north, and they'll bring in about 70 at a time, and they rely on the fosters to take care of them until they get adopted. And for me, since we already have 2 dogs in the house, it's like we love them, but by the time they get adopted, we're so ready to just have our little squad back in our house again because it's more work. But the other thing I love about, and so like what we do with that as well is we kind of know we're not like big dog people, and so we always foster puppies of big dogs because they're smaller, they're really cute, and we know that we're not going to get hooked into keeping them anyways. But what I love about fostering is the concept of like, if you want to get a dog, foster first, and then if the dog's not a good fit, you allow him to be adopted by somebody else. If the dog is a good fit, well, you adopt that dog for yourself. And I think that's just like a great way of getting a dog, because you don't have to run the risk of like, you adopt it, then, oh gosh, this is going so terrible, what do I do? You foster, and if it's not a good fit, somebody else adopts them. If it is a good fit, you keep them.
Yeah, I've always gotten my dogs from like the Humane Society or a rescue. So that's always good. Never fostered, maybe in the future, but it just seems tough letting the foster go, especially if you like them.
So like we have one foster fail, Obi-Wan, who I'm assuming he's still behind me here. Is he on that chair? Yeah, he is. I'll grab him. This guy right here. He is a foster fail. Because so like he was 4 years old when we adopted him. He lived his entire life out in the wild, out in the cold. And when he found us, he attached.
How's he living out in the cold in Canada?
Right. Like I truly don't understand it. He's the sweetest little baby. And so like he's, ever since we got him, he just attached himself to me always. When I'm in the room in here, he's with me. When I'm in bed, he's with me. When I walk around, he follows me. And so we just couldn't really get rid of him because he was adorable. He got along well with our other dog, and he just attached himself to me right off the bat. Even when he was getting babysat by somebody else, like we'd go away for a weekend and he'd just like spend the entire weekend at the person's house at their window just waiting for me to get back. So we couldn't get rid of him.
Well, good luck on the adoption. Hopeful a little bit later today. That will be taking place after our 3:15 show when we cover the FanDuel slate, guys. Make sure to tune back, and then more Spidey Bombs, more bets, more DFS. Other than that, have a good morning, afternoon, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit. For TJ, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, and we out ya.